What's up, y'all, man? It's that no nonsense. I'll come to you with another video about this. Does Magic Johnson deserve credit for Lakers' success? Magic is like that dude, that popular kid that was assigned to work on a project with the nerds and let the nerds do the project because he was doing, obviously, he was an athlete, he was the popular kid. So he comes back and try to write his name on a project after doing nothing. This is what I see. Magic Johnson, keep in mind, Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard in the history of the game, in my opinion. A lot of guys who are fans of Magic, and Magic's gonna have a lot of fans. I would say try not to hold guys in such a post where they cannot be criticized. Remain objective, not subjective. You have a lot of subjectivity in today's league. They claim they are objective, but they're not. They're subjective, and guys add feelings into it because when a guy holds a sport person that they like, they add a bit of their subjectivity into it, and this can be done intentionally or unintentionally. You'll feel a part of this person because some sports guys that a lot of guys like are relatable to their lives, or you get or a role model. So keep in mind when I discuss Magic Johnson, you are a Magic Johnson fan or fanboy, which I encourage not to be fanboys of any human being because there is no human being on this earth that is God. It's a form of idolatry. So keep in mind that when you are a fan of someone, try to also look at them with a subjective mind. My bad, an objective mind, not subjective. My bad, objective mind. I'm pretty sure a lot of Kobe fanboys was hurt when they found out about the Kobe Colorado situation. It hurt their soul. So, however, they're going to talk about this and provide feedback.
Credit for the Lakers' success.
Yes, he does. He deserves a ton of credit for this. And I want you.
Well, no, he don't. He don't deserve credit for this because he quit. This is what happened. Jeanie Buss refused to fire Luke Walton. And I would say this about a leader in terms of LeBron James, in terms of Magic, and in terms of a lot of guys. And it's not to credit Magic Johnson's leadership because Magic Johnson was a great leader on the court. But this in terms of him right now, you find out who a person really is under pressure. This is what Greg Popovich said about a person in the playoffs. And this is just common knowledge or wisdom in case you don't notice. A lot of guys like, how do you know? Or why do you guys make that type of assumption? You know who a person truly is under adversity. I believe Franklin Roosevelt was our president during the Great Depression. We figured out that, I think he was our president during that time. We figured out that he was able to get us out of the Great Depression. Therefore, he was a great president because he was able to, under adversity, get us out of a hard time. So if you have a person who is able to do great things, and a lot of times they're going to get hurt, they're going to seem bad, and a lot of these leaders don't want to seem bad going through the mud, so they try not to go through that adversity, and that's pretty much the wrong way to look at it. People want to see you get hurt. People want to see you get knocked on the ground. However, they don't want to see you die. There's a difference between getting knocked on the ground and dying because it shows that, hey, you're going to get hit under adversity. You're going to feel some pain, but that's okay. Go through it, right? And so you'll know who a great leader is under adversity. And too many times when teams like LeBron James go through adversity, he tends to separate himself from the team where it becomes LeBron and the Cavaliers, where it becomes LeBron and the Lakers. So now under adversity, Magic Johnson quit, right? He said Rob Pelinka was a snake. Keep in mind, I believe that. Rob Pelinka is one of those business snakes. And when you're working in corporate, you're going to have a lot of business snakes, right? Guys may pretend to like you, but when you can affect their money, trust me, they're going to try to get you removed. There's a lot of business snakes. Magic Johnson has this image and this brand of being this lovable guy. And so when I heard Magic quote, these guys are grown men. They're going to be in trade discussions. They're going to need to grow up. I went to go give them a hug. So now I want to be wary of Magic because Magic does this a lot. Magic would say something really nice. I went to go give them a hug. However, this is business. So the Lakers was hurting his image and his brand of becoming this guy, this savior who's going to lift the Lakers out the depths or the pits of hell, right? And those guys were affecting that. Now keep in mind, LeBron tampered with Anthony Davis. And LeBron deserves the credit for getting Anthony Davis because he tampered with it and got Anthony Davis to want to go to the Lakers. And guys quote unquote call Anthony Davis a top 5 player, but I believe a top 5 player would have done more with that team. And I'm not going to digress that much into Anthony Davis. That's another video. But I would just say this: 23-9 Julius Randle, 20 points per game Jrue Holiday. Amir just had multiple 30-point games, and he was around 19 points per game. And he quit when it was out of playoff contention. He had that dinner with LeBron. LeBron deserves the credit for getting Anthony Davis because he tampered with him, and LeBron and Anthony Davis wanted to go join there. So I'll give Magic Johnson credit for getting LeBron. I think LeBron was going to Lakers anyway. However, I'll just give Magic Johnson the credit because Magic Johnson added this legendary status and music to the Lakers. If you come here, you're going to be part of royalty. But keep in mind, San Antonio didn't punk out, and they traded Kawhi to Toronto, and he turns out he didn't even want to go play with the Lakers. He wanted to go to the Clippers and compete against the Lakers. Paul George wanted to go to the Lakers, but he didn't want to go play with LeBron. So a lot of the stars they thought they was getting, turns out they didn't want to go play with LeBron. And so Magic Johnson couldn't do anything, even if he wasn't there. And he was there, and those guys didn't want to go. But he wasn't there with the Kawhi thing, even though he said that he talked to Kawhi, but that didn't change anything. So now, Jeanie Buss, who the guy, Magic Johnson, claimed that he didn't want to hurt the feelings of her. However, he was going to go on live TV during the game and say, I quit because I didn't want to go hurt Jeanie Buss' feelings. And she was going to cry, and I was going to cry, and I was going to change my mind. Keep in mind, Magic Johnson owns a lot of businesses. So tears is not going to change his mind on any business decision. Magic Johnson quit because his brand was being hurt, and also guys didn't do what he wanted to be done. And so he looked like a fool, and he was angry, and he wanted to quit. And like that person that leave the relationship, when they see that that person turns out to be doing well, they take shots on Facebook. Oh my goodness, the chick he dated, she don't even look as good as me. Why he with her? This is what Magic Johnson is doing right now. Rob Pelinka is indeed a snake. I do believe that. However, LeBron, Rob, and Jeanie had to scramble, and they turned out to be in a good place currently. Do I think they're going to win a championship? I don't know, but they surely can this year. But this is but Magic Johnson had quit. Keep that in mind. Magic Johnson quit. And I want to say this: beware of the guy who kiss you on the cheek but won't tell you the truth. You get what I'm saying? Too many guys now want to hear words that they want to hear, but nobody tells them the truth. So when I hear Magic say things like, I didn't want to quit in front of Jeanie Buss' face, but I wanted to go on the media and quit because I didn't want her to cry and I was going to cry, kind of tells you that Magic Johnson has some snakish vibes. And I won't go as far as that, but this is what I think. This is what makes me led to believe that this man cares about his brand and his image, which is that he is this love, charismatic guy.
You guys,
but he don't want you to know who he truly is behind the scenes. And under adversity, you would know who a player really or a person really is if they engage in that leadership role. So now, in the business aspect, we are now finding out who Magic Johnson really is. So if you are a Magic Johnson fan or fanboy, try to look at this with an objective mindset.
To go back to how this all started, because I think what we are doing is putting a high emphasis on how it ended. And the way it ended wasn't admirable, wasn't optimal by Magic Johnson, obviously. But don't let the way he went out distract you and detour you from reality because of the work he did before that moment. Magic Johnson was more than Santa Claus. He was the parachute that saved this franchise as it was going out of control, spiraling downward at a rapid rate ever since Jeanie Buss took over.
He's a Clippers fan, so I want to see how he's going to defend Magic Johnson. So he must be working with Magic Johnson in some type of business.
No playoff appearances still to this date since Jeanie Buss has been the owner of this team, who I love a lot. 27 wins, 21 wins, 17 wins, 26 wins. And here comes Magic the parachute in February 2017. Let's stop this. Come on now. Then all of a sudden, 35 wins. Oh, that doesn't seem like...
Well, because they paid Kobe all that money after he tore his ACL. And when Lakers couldn't get Chris Paul and Dwight Howard and turn out to be as good as, well, pretty much that chemistry and the injuries and things that work out well, it was over for the Lakers at that point. It was coming to Kobe Bryant's back years. And also, they was racking up draft picks. And by the time they was able to win a lot, they was racking up a bunch of draft picks. And look at the Philadelphia 76ers. You lose enough, you're gonna get a lot of good pieces, and you're gonna start to win again. Then they got LeBron James.
Like a lot for the Lakers of old and Showtime Lakers, but for these Lakers, Jeannie Buss-led Lakers, oh, that's a lot. 37 wins. And then Magic taps out. But those seeds were
He quit.
planted. Those moves were made. Talking about the cap space. You talk about...
Well, I don't give Magic Johnson credit for that because Magic Johnson tried to trade those kids. And I don't blame him for that because you can always want to enhance your business, right? Because they realized that LeBron wasn't going to be enough. And keep in mind, Magic assembled that team in hope of a second star coming there. When nobody wanted to go there, when they couldn't get Kawhi, and when Paul George chose not to go there, so he assembled a team and tried to pretty much be in good spirit, but that team didn't go as well. So he tried to get Anthony Davis, which who LeBron tempered with. And so they tried to make a trade with all those pieces they racked up off all the losing years. Pelicans knew LeBron tempered with Anthony Davis, so they tried to do the famous, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. So they pretty much made their moves, made it public and destroyed the Lakers locker room. And I've literally watched Magic Johnson and LeBron handle that situation horribly. Magic said something like they grown men, and I said this at the beginning of the video, not to sound redundant, but pretty much they grown men. It is what it is. Y'all not that good. Y'all grown men, right? I'm trying to get a star. I'm trying to win a championship. Y'all grown men. I'm trying to make my image look good. Y'all heard my image, and you know how LeBron does in terms of adversity, right? So we saw who they were.
One, Magic Johnson.
And I won't say that Magic is a worse leader because I think Magic is a bit of a better leader. But in this point, Magic can't play on the court. So Magic is trying to be that guy that enhances his brand. And when that brand was crashing down and he was made look like a fool, he got emotional and he quit.
Is the reason LeBron James is here in terms of what executive was able to make that deal. He didn't even talk to Luke Walton for, 6 weeks?
Because when LeBron went over there, he already had it in his mind that Luke Walton was going to be fired. And keep in mind, Luke Walton is not a good coach. And I say a lot about these ex-NBA players that get all these coaching jobs. The coaching pool in the NBA currently has been bad. There's not a lot of good coaches. And nowadays, a lot of these coaches taking each other plays. I remember a lot of coaches were designing a lot of their own plays and a lot of their own styles. And nowadays, they're just taking plays. Luke Walton came in there and tried to run Golden State run and gun plays without the Golden State personnel. Right? So, hey.
Like LeBron's in town.
And y'all, keep an eye on the Sacramento Kings because he's the coach there too. So LeBron went there already smarter than Luke Walton. But LeBron had in his mind that he didn't want Luke Walton to coach. But to LeBron's credit, he was smarter than Luke Walton. However, I feel like LeBron should have handled that better as a professional because, like I said, LeBron doesn't handle adversity well in terms of that, in terms of the business aspect and professionalism. LeBron does not promote professionalism, right? And he credits Allen Iverson for this in terms of culture. And a lot of people that use Allen Iverson have changed the league culturally, which he did. They tend to leave out professionalism. And the liberals, and I'm not a Republican, but I'm just stating this, and I don't want to digress. They're taking away professionalism and trying to promote showsmanship. LeBron is more about showsmanship and less about professionalism. So you hear guys that say, pretty much promoting rebellion. Hey man, the NFL owners are slave owners. Do what you want. Pay us the most money. Play less games. Do what you want, right? It's just rebellion, right? And they credit Allen Iverson for this in terms of changing the league culturally. But as Allen Iverson did that, Allen Iverson was a rebellion person, right? A rebellious person. And LeBron is also that, right? And it's always going to be a guy who's going to take something someone did to the next level. So beware of the guy in the future that's going to take what LeBron did to an even far level. And let's see what the state of the league will be by then.
At Bev, Piece of Rev, and all these places, not even talking to his coach. It was Magic Johnson that made that happen, which also is a part of what made Anthony Davis a Los Angeles Laker. So I just want to respect the continuum, which is Magic helped save this franchise and, more importantly, redirected it to where it is right now.
First, that was a stupid argument, right? Like I said, I think he's on Magic Johnson payroll, or he might be working with Magic Johnson somewhere in the business.
thing when I talk
because he's a Clippers fan. Keep that in mind.
to my kids or
And I'm not saying this because he disagreed with me. I'm just being. I can tell by your argument, even if it doesn't make sense or sound ridiculous compared to your other arguments, because Marcellus at times will get you confused and lost in how you try to include semantics and try to include a bit of intellect in his arguments. But when someone go overboard and go far left on the argument, it pretty much will tell you pretty much of a bias. Either bias is either subjective, right? And subjective also can be bias, or pretty much you under someone's payroll.
I do any sort of media training with people, one of the things that I tell them is let somebody else sing your praises.
Well, of course, because when a person exalts themselves, they pretty much want attention, right? And you already know those who exalt themselves, they will be humbled.
The idea that he's asking for credit, I will give it to him, but it's a bad look.
Or those who try to do this in the aftermath of a breakup, it's pretty much trying to cope and regret of how the breakup is happening, right? And it's like stages of grief. It's denial, and pretty much in this stage, it's deflection, right? And the stages of grief, which I know them, but not in this order currently. But I would add deflections because now he's throwing deflects. But usually the way he's speaking and how this breakup went, he's like that chick on Facebook. Her boyfriend broke up with him, and he may have, right? He may have dated a girl who's not as pretty as her. However, she's doing the things that you weren't willing to do. So now he left the ship because Lakers want to do the things that he didn't want to do, and his image was crashing and burning in his eyes, right? And so now Rob Pelinka, LeBron, and Jeanie Buss have to go through the mud, and they managed to, strike gold at the moment. It's like you leaving a battle because you're afraid to die, and it turns out you won that battle, and now you having an out the war party, and you're trying to get in that party, but you can't because you quit. You went AWOL. It's pretty much, hey, this is why people say die a warrior than live a coward. Because when you do something, and a lot of guys like this, when you have a brand, they are afraid to get knocked down. This is what happens when you go under adversity. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get hit in the face, but you do not die. So guys that pretty much try to protect their brand and they're afraid to get knocked down should tell you about who they're about. And I saw what Magic Johnson was truly about. He was about his brand.
That he wants to come out after the way things ended and say, I deserve credit for where we are. And here's the most important thing. Okay, I will give you some credit for where they are. Where are they? This is like me going into one of Mad.
Look at this quote. This team will not be in the position it's in without me. This was my strategy. This is what I thought they'll be in 3 years. Well, if you knew that, you would never quit, right? Because if you knew that they was going to be this way, you would have stuck it out, because then you would have had indication what was going to happen in the future, right? Because a lot of people, because a true warrior or a true brave person, and being brave and being fearless is two different things. Being fearless is without fear. Being brave, you could be scared of something, but you stand up to it, not knowing of the outcome. Lakers could have indeed failed. However, those guys that stuck through it would have just died warrior's death. However, it turns out they actually won. I knew we were on the right track. Well, if you did, you would have never quit because you would have stuck through it, right? Everybody wanted to do it their way. So this is how he truly feels. Like I said about Magic Johnson, he says a couple of, sprinkles before he tells you how he really feels. It's like a person spraying air freshener after they got done using the bathroom. Everybody wants to do it their way, but I'm good with who I am, right? Pretty much, they didn't fire Luke Walton. They didn't get rid of Rob Pelinka or whatever. This is why I think he was mad at Janie. This is why I believe he was mad at Janie. That's why he quit on national TV, because Janie chose to stick with Luke Walton. And guys were making fun of Janie and Luke, saying that they was probably together or whatever. Because keep in mind, a lot of these guys that are ex-NBA players, they have charismatic and they have a face, and that attracts a lot of these athletes. However, they don't want them doing the dirty aspects of business. A lot of guys believe that you can enter one professional into another one and be great at that. And that is not true, because one profession takes, if you're a professionalist in one profession, you know, it doesn't mean you can just come to another one and be great at that, right? It's like I hear a lot of these players who are great at basketball, right? But you can't just go over to football and be great, or football players who think they can just jump in boxing and be great. It's a totally different profession, and business aspect is a profession. You're a great businessman because of what you've done for the Lakers, and you're a great charismatic player. However, Lakers didn't feel like you can do the down and dirty aspects of business, so you quit because your image was falling and you felt like you didn't have your way, Magic. That's what happened. This is why you said everybody wanted to do it that way, but I'm good with who I am, right? I think people respect what I've done for the team. Well, they might do simply because simply because they're Magic fanboys, or they're a fan of you, right? Or they simply just like you. But at the end of the day, if we speaking was real and 100%, we knew that you quit on the team because we thought that was the end of the Lakers. They was gonna get somebody, but not somebody that was going to get them over the hump. And it turns out you quit because you wanted to try to embarrass that team, and that team was going to fall, and you was going to be like, hey, man, I told you guys, I quit. However, that team ended up winning the battle that you quit, and you're mad that they're at the party and you're not invited.
Magic's Starbucks, and I order my Americano, and the barista is going to work, and the cashier goes, oh, by the way, you know what? You wouldn't be getting that without me. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I don't even know how good the cup of coffee is.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Lakers are just yet. And second of all, it's a bad look that you want to jump in and say that I owe you something for what I've paid for. The reality is, do you know who was in December 19th, 2018, last year? Who was in first place in the Western Conference? That would be the Denver Nuggets. December 19th, 2017, who was in first place? That would be the Houston Rockets. So, yes, you are 24-4. You are in first place.
I guess he said it as that guys like him or any other people that trying to clown Lakers champions already, such as Nick Wright. Denver was first place at that time. They didn't win a championship. They got knocked out. But he said 2017 Denver. I believe that's what he said. Or whatever. They didn't win the championship.
Place in the Western Conference.
And the Rockets too, but you can blame that on James Harden and Chris Paul, because Chris Paul is unreliable on the court in terms of durability, and how James Harden's game is a double-edged sword.
Credit for that. You also get credit for the fact that you don't have a first-round pick in 2021. If we're going to go all the way down the line, you don't have a second-round pick in 2022. New Orleans controls your pick in 2023.
Well, you could blame that again LeBron, because when you run the LeBron James system against a high IQ team that can play defense, it becomes rather, I would say, predictable. Guys know to put LeBron in a certain spot, or LeBron gonna do what he do and pressure those shooters that can only do nothing but shoot, or they have to hamper their game to work in that system, such as Kevin Love. They ran Kevin Love on the three-point line. So guys say, hey, Kevin Love, you disappear. How come you not playing Timberwolves Kevin Love? But because Timberwolves Kevin Love wasn't jacking up threes. So when they game plan for Kevin Love, they didn't game plan for Timberwolves Kevin Love. They game plan for the Kevin Love that just shot threes on the corner. So when you get LeBron, you're going for that college party. However, after that college party is over, that college depth, you kind of question, was that college party worth it?
And you don't have a pick in 2024. So let me see where this team goes and what it does. This, to me, this quote has the potential. This team would not be in the position it's in without me. Has the potential of coming back and biting him the same way Joe Lacob once upon a time said, we are light years ahead of everybody else. And now
Well, first of all, that's two different things. I think Joe Lacob felt that way because Shannon Sharpe, a media mistress of LeBron, said that Draymond called KD because they wanted to team up and beat LeBron. A lot of guys are saying that now because keep in mind, when they look at Golden State, they will evaluate them due to hatred. And you have a right to feel that way when Kevin Durant went there, and pretty much guys were mad that, he pretty much cost a lot of other teams to win the championship. And just some LeBron fans just feel like they cost him to win the championship. However, they felt like they was going to win back-to-back. I mean, if you win 73 in 9 games and come back 3-1 to Oklahoma City, and they wasn't even worried about Cleveland, because keep in mind, they beat Cleveland on Christmas. I believe that season, and then they destroyed Cleveland. I think they even led by 30-something or 20-something points in halftime. It had to be like 30-70 in halftime. They was losing bad. Cleveland, no one felt like it was a West Championship. Spurs was second seed, so it was a West Championship. Whoever would have won the championship, right? In the West, however, Cleveland ended up winning. So guys trying to say that, oh man, they picked Kevin Durant to team up against LeBron. No, they feel like they was going to win back-to-back and then get KD. However, they end up losing and say, hey, KD, come over here. And now we lost, so we need you. Pretty much talk all that goodness in his ear. And being that how Kevin Durant is that type of guy who feels incomplete, so he needs to go in situations to try to feel complete, right? Quote unquote, feel complete. And they got Kevin Durant, and pretty much when Cleveland brought a bigger knife, or when Cleveland had a knife to a knife fight, Golden State brought a cannon. And so I guess that's what they meant by light years ahead.
Everybody is throwing it back at him. If the Lakers don't complete this, if they don't keep Anthony Davis, which they still have to do.
They don't keep Anthony Davis. It'll just be Anthony Davis. Keep in mind, he left that dinner with LeBron and said, hey, man, I care about my legacy. So I want people to hold Anthony Davis to that word. Because if he leave the Lakers, he pretty much saying that I came to the Lakers to ring chase.
Then there's going to be people who are going to say, yeah, Magic, you're right. We would not be in this position without you, but it's not going to play quite the way it does right now.
If Anthony Davis leave, it won't be Magic Johnson's fault. Just like it wasn't Magic Johnson's credit of getting Anthony Davis. That was LeBron's credit.
I don't like it because they're 24-4. If they were 18-10, this interview never happened.
Well, it'll just validate Magic's leaving the Lakers, right? In his mind. And now that they're doing good and his plan to go as bad, he's like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Never.
Christmas happens.
Again, Christmas.
Bikes are given.
He never has this interview. He's not, again, that he can interview Plaschke at his home, at Mickey D's, at Ruth Chris. There's a bunch of places. That's a couch. Hey, come interview me while I'm being Santa Claus and make that part of your story.
He was about to say something. Watch this. He was about to say, don't tell me he was about to say what I think about to say.
Ruth Chris. There's a bunch of places. That's a couch. Hey, come interview me while I'm being Santa Claus.
He said that's he was about to say clout chasing?
And make that part of your story. Listen, this man trying to jump in here and steal some shine from Jeannie Buss.
Exactly. He was trying to put his name on that project that he quit on.
Who he just said we haven't even talked this season. We really haven't even made things right. It's a bad look. It's what I love Magic the athlete. I hate that everything about athletes has been perverted by brand building.
Exactly. That's a great point, because brand building has made you look less authentic. You'll have a form of authenticity and something that the media will try to latch on to in favor of showmanship. It's great and entertaining when Joel Embiid talks trash, but the reason it was great when he did it because it was authentic. However, it's become a brand, and when Joel Embiid noticed that it's a brand, he tried to go after it because he knows he's getting love for it, and it's become less authentic. It's become fake, and it looks irritating, right? And you look at Russell Westbrook with the triple doubles. The first time he got it, it was history. Then all of a sudden, he fell in love with that brand, and now it looks fake and unauthentic. This is all brand building because of how the liberals trying to promote showmanship.
Brand building. This is just brand building. It's a bad look for Magic Johnson on a bunch of different levels. And Rick's point of taking credit for 24-4. Come take credit after they hang a championship, then say, hey, they should give me credit.
I was wrong. So him taking credit now would be the day before you turn it in and you see the project, you want to write your name on it. Now taking credit when they win a championship would be when the teacher write 100. She'd be like, did you two do the project? And he comes in and say, I did it too. Oh man, give me a break. You know what Magic Johnson looked like to me right now in that picture? But you know that it's like a scary movie where it's 10 guys in a room or a place, and when the lights go off, someone turn out dead and you don't know who did it. And Magic Johnson is the guy everybody trusts, but he turns out to actually be the killer. He looked like he got a fake head on. Like you could just rip the head off and he's somebody else.
This is premature, but it just screams to me jealousy, envy, regret. he wishes he was there so he could beat his chest and say, I did this.
Exactly, because he wanted to promote his brand. He wanted to be the savior of the Los Angeles Lakers struggles.
And he can't. You start with Jeannie Buss, then you go to Pelinka, and then you go to LeBron James.
And this is what I mean by jumping into a profession thinking that you're just going to be good at it. When you do a profession, you got to do it 100%. So when you jump out of something, right, when your brand is falling down, that automatically tell me that you wasn't even doing it 100%. So when I heard like stuff like Rob Pelinka, reports felt like Magic Johnson, Rob Pelinka was telling Jeannie Buss that Magic wasn't 100% into his work. You question if that was true, but when you have guys jumping out of situations to protect their brand, it turns out that he wasn't 100% to begin with. So that report just might be true. I also agree with Magic Johnson calling Rob Pelinka a snake, because in corporate business, guys are snakes, right? You think they're your friend, but when you affect their money, then you'll see how much of a friend they really are, right?
That's who deserves credit, and this dude should have been quoted in the paper singing those three people's praises.
Yeah, because those three people stuck it out, right? They was going to have to die the warrior's death. They was going to have, instead of, Magic Johnson chose to live as the coward. He chose to quit. However, it turns out that they won that battle that Magic believed they wasn't going to win, and now he's looking bad because they are enjoying themselves and he isn't invited to the after party because he quit on the team, right? It is what it is. This is what I'm saying, that it's more relatable when you have a leader that's able to stick in the mud, risk his brand, risk his image, and gets knocked down, but he doesn't die. Like Rocky. This is why people like Rocky. You have a lot of guys that when their brand's on the line, they don't want to get knocked down, so they quit. And they fanboys try to protect them. This is why I say, look at this with an objective mindset, right? However, you got when the guy sticks through it, like Rocky, he doesn't die and he rises above it, then it looks great. However, sometimes they don't make it. Then they die the warrior's death. But then you got guys who, in today's society, rather live as the coward. They rather quit.
Okay. I have a lot to unpack right here. First of all, I'm feeling the double team, coach. I got to turn, twist my hips, get skinny in the hole.
I got an next one.
I know how to get out of double teams. Okay. One, Magic Johnson in this interview, you have to go 40%, maybe halfway through before you even get to Lakers conversation, because this interview at its core was really about his getting back to who Magic Johnson is in essence.
Yeah, exactly. Call him out. Like I said about Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson's going to sell a bunch of stuff that's going to make you blush. He's a very charismatic person. He's probably the most charismatic person in the world. He's up there in top 5, him and Barack Obama. Brother's very charismatic. But like I said, when you look, don't get into all that BS. He's going to tell you how he really feels.
I'm pumped to break.
Oh, here comes the journalist. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
I knew.
I craft these stories for a living, and so does Rick.
Right.
The heart of that story is about the Lakers. Everything else is just an excuse.
Exactly.
I can respect that. But he still did the work in the moment for you to have the excuse to build and craft your argument.
What work did he do, right? Sit in the offense as the Lakers racked up draft picks, got LeBron, and was going to use those draft picks to trade for stars because Lakers was a great destination. If he was going to do some work, go do what Michael Jordan do. Don't have the market, right? Go to a small market team where you don't have the market and you have to build from scratch.
Here's the thing. I have a real issue with people who are taking exception with Magic in this moment, because it's really only a personality quirk that you really have an issue with. And I'm talking to you, Rick Bucher. I've always had this issue since I was like in grade school, and it's like compliments versus credit. And I give you an example. People want to give compliments because they really want the power.
Yeah, I'm convinced that this brother is on Magic's payroll in some type of way. He's a Clippers fan. Maybe he's a Magic. I won't say he's a Magic fanboy. He just liked Magic, but I think he's working under business with Magic. When they go so far, exaggerate to protect an argument, even if it looks foolish, it tells you that something's going on in terms of him, in terms of the business. Or maybe in a relationship, maybe Magic is providing him with something that he feel like he can't destroy.
To say what you...
So that should also tell you about Magic. If you go out there and you say something bad about Magic, he'll cut you off.
And how you're being perceived. So there's really a selfish play in me.
Just like how Michael Jordan did with Charles Barkley. They was friends, and Charles Barkley said quote unquote the truth that Michael Jordan do nothing but hire yes man, and Michael got mad and cut Charles Barkley off. So that should tell you something about Michael Jordan.
Giving you compliments, and here's an example. If Tony Dungy were ever to let it leave his mouth that I did most of the construction of that Tampa Bay team that John Gruden actually won with, people will lose their minds. But those same people are the people who go around right now every time John Gruden says, yeah, I won the Super Bowl. Oh, you won it with Tony Dungy's people. They will be hypocritical. They flip. The same thing happens in Golden State. When Steve Kerr obviously played himself into a position where he's not just benefiting from
He said played himself into a position.
Mark Jackson's players. But if Mark Jackson ever wanted to actually say, why do I have to wait for you to give me credit?
Well, let's stop this nonsense narrative right now. Mark Jackson's being blackballed because the NBA, and I said this before, but this is for the new people checking out my channel. Mark Jackson getting blackballed because the NBA is liberal. I'm just put it bluntly like that. Mark Jackson is, I don't know if he's still a pastor, but I do know he preached Christianity beliefs, and he is very outspoken, right? So he doesn't believe in gay marriages, and that went against what the NBA believes, and he was in California, pretty much gay capital, pretty much liberal capital. And he got blackballed because the NBA doesn't promote that type of stuff, right? They trying to stay liberal. So Christianity isn't liberal, right? So this is why a lot of liberals fight with Christians in terms of that. And I'm not going to digress, and that's another, topic for another day, or if I ever take on that topic, that'd be depending on if you want me to. However, Mark Jackson is getting blackballed because of that. And it's unfortunate. But it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Unfortunately, and I would say unfortunate because I don't wish a guy to get blackballed like that. And a lot of these guys preach equality, but if you disagree with me, I want you crucified. Is it really equality, or is it hypocritism, or is it control? But like I said, not to digress. But Mark Jackson, unfortunately, he was fired. However, Steve Kerr is a far more better offensive coach than Mark Jackson was. Mark Jackson is a great defensive coach. Mark Jackson taught them toughness and confidence. However, they would not have won those championships, and they would not have looked as good as they have with Mark Jackson as the coach. Because keep in mind, they probably would have made the Western Conference Finals. They was disappointing teams. Steph Curry was great, but Steph Curry would have gotten worn down. Steve Kerr played with Phil Jackson. Well, he played under Phil Jackson. He played with Michael Jordan. He played with Tim. He played under Greg Popovich, and I believe he was the GM when Mike D'Antoni was the coach of the Phoenix Suns. So he saw different coaches. He saw different players and stars. So he was able to incorporate a system and put guys in positions based on the different dimensions of offense, right, that he played under or was in position of. And this will lead Steve Kerr to have a very great offensive and diverse offense IQ that Mark Jackson just don't have.
And give you the power when
And Stephen A. would say this in defense of Mark Jackson, being that he should have never got fired, because keep in mind, Stephen A. is trying to defend all black coaches. I'm not saying this as a bad thing, but any black coach, and there's a lot of black coaches that are wrongfully fired, but any black coach that is fired or pretty much Stephen A. will defend you, because that's how brother Stephen A. is. He's for the brothers, right? Black Panther. And like I said before, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you're just gonna have to admit, and this has nothing to do with race, right? You're just gonna have to admit that Steve Kerr is just a better coach than Mark Jackson.
actually already know what it is. I've seen this play so many different ways in sports and in real life. Beautiful girl shows up at school. This used to happen, Tiffany Cambridge. Everyone would say, "You look amazing, you look amazing." Then one day, Tiffany finally came to school and said, "How you like how I look?" Yeah. You know, wait a minute. You know why? Because the person giving the compliment wants so much credit. Magic Johnson is saying literally the reality.
It's not the reality. Magic Johnson quit, right? If Magic Johnson knew this team was going to be great, he would have never quit, because he would have known they was going to win the battle. So people do. When they know the outcome of something, when something's going good, then they're going to stick with it. Magic Johnson didn't know the outcome of it. He saw it falling, and he jumped off. And also, they didn't do the things that he wanted to do. And it turns out that they won the battle that guys thought that they was going to lose. And so he isn't invited to that after-war party.
In the facts, this franchise was going this way. And all I'm saying is they wouldn't be in this position if it weren't for me. But we have to wait for Rick Bucher and Jason Whitlock and everyone else to say it before Magic can
No, there's
say it.
two.
And I want to say this: Magic Johnson, obviously, like I said, is the greatest point guard of all time. He was a great leader on the court. I don't want to say he's not a great leader. This is more of his business side. This is more of his situation with the Lakers, right? I don't want to get that confused.
Things here, and I don't want to steal your thunder because I can see what you have over there.
Yeah.
That's the key word is missing.
But the reality is, in a general context, I can agree with some of what you said.
Yeah.
But we have it's circumstance, and the circumstance is that Magic bailed on this situation.
Exactly, he quit.
Go ahead, use my word.
He quit. He left, and not only did he quit,
Mark Jackson
and
got
leave,
fired. Tony Dungy got fired. They didn't quit. In sports, you don't quit. And trust me, I tried it when I was a kid, and my father went off.
Yeah, I try to quit too. I
and-
get you.
Exactly. When you do something, you got to live by something and die by something. Under adversity, you see how a leader really is, right? When a true leader do something, they either die by it or they live by it. They don't, when things get tough, they jump off the ship. You don't see Franklin Roosevelt resigning president because he couldn't help the Great Depression. He was gonna probably just take the hit to the chin, and guys would probably call him a bad president, or history would have been different. I believe that was the president during the Great Depression. He helped America get out of the Great Depression, right? So a great leader is going to be tried in terms of adversity, and how you do under it would determine who you really are. So under this adversity Magic Johnson is under, you got, in terms of his corporate side, you are seeing it. Keep in mind, there's a report saying that Magic used to be disrespectful with people behind the scenes, and he wanted to be seen as this lovely guy, but behind the scenes, he's not that. And ESPN was trying to stop that report from coming out. And it's no surprise. I mean, keep in mind, in business, it's hard. When you hurting someone's money, when you hurting someone's image, right, they're going to go off on you. But if it'd be different, right, if he would have stuck through it and would have chose to take the blame if it would have failed, because it would have been seen as, hey man, get your stuff together. I'm gonna yell at you, yeah, get your stuff together. But at the end of the day, he chose to fall by it if he would have died. But it would have been, but since he quit going off on people, then quit when things got bad, it just makes it look even worse.
And didn't play my 5th year of college, and they won a championship without me.
That's to my point with why I don't think this story is as ingenuous as you think it is. You know why? Because he even admits that I still haven't talked to Jeannie. He even admits that that was the weak way out. So why would you craft a story where you're going to take shots at yourself and take shots that are not going to put you in the best light? I think Magic Johnson is just being transparent. There's some good, there's some bad. I deserve some credit, but not all the credit.
Yeah. It was the weak way out. I should have never done it. If I would have done it, I would have changed. I'm Magic. I made a mistake. Smile, laugh, hug. But I deserve the credit for that.
And you just got to read that story and have that balance.
But where was it in this piece?
Magic just got to take the hit to the chin, right? Whatever he was trying to do did not work, and he needs to move on.
Where he said, you know what? Rob's done a hell of a job. Jeannie held the ship together even though I stepped off, and I
Exactly.
did it in such an
And you thought she was going to fail.
abrupt way. There wasn't enough.
And I'm not saying this as Jeannie is a great GM or owner. I believe she's the owner. I thought that she wasn't a good owner, and I was one of the ones that said she might need to step down. But it turns out she stayed firm in her position, as well as Rob. She trusted Rob enough. And as far as LeBron, and they managed to form a decent team at the moment.
Enough acknowledgement of what has been done without him. And if he had done that and said, you know, hey, I think I had a part in this, it would have played different. And this is the other part when it comes back to the situation, which is there are plenty of players and athletes, you know this, that do a tremendous amount in the community. And the cameras aren't there, and they don't alert the cameras, and they don't let people know, and they don't get nearly the credit that they deserve for all that they do. But
well, some people say a good deed doesn't need to be noticed, right? Well, a person that truly wants to do a good deed doesn't need attention. So when I hear credit they deserve, might be true, but when I hear stuff like, "Oh man, I'm doing a good deed. Watch me do a good deed," right? It's just more you're promoting the brand. And it might be good, right, for that person because you help that person, but it's more brand promoting, which will come back and haunt them in the near future. But when you got guys that do good deeds, even if it doesn't get noticed, then hey, they truly about that. And not to say that Magic Johnson is doing good deeds and trying to get noticed or unnoticed. He probably done a lot of great deeds. He probably done a lot of great deeds and it didn't get noticed because he like, I'm just a great person, and that's fine. But in terms of this situation, he's protecting his brand. That's what he chose to do.
But I do have trouble with the guys who show up and then make sure that the cameras are there, taking care of that. Everybody knows that they are doing what they're doing, because then it makes me question what your motive is.
Exactly. It's called brand. It's called unauthentic and fake. This is what you're seeing from Magic Johnson. When you can see the flaws in a person, suddenly your perspective of that person is looked differently. Magic Johnson is mad because he is looked differently now than what how he was projected before he took that Lakers job, right? Or before that situation happened. Now people are looking at him a lot differently than how he was used to, right? So he's mad about that.
Is.
Well,
and that's where
for me, Marcellus, I'm just telling you, Magic Johnson's my favorite athlete. His pictures, and it was because he elevated everybody else as an athlete
on the court.
That's what attracted me to Magic, and that's what made us sing Magic's praises. Magic, the brand, elevates Magic, and I don't. It's inconsistent
because that's what happens when you're promoting your brand. This is what happens when the media attached to you, because now you got to go over exaggerate and even be unauthentic and fake to promote your brand. And then you might have your fans or your fanboys might take your side, but then like I said, what comes around goes around, right? Or when you exalt yourself, you'll be humbled. A lot of these guys get too big-headed, and then they take on task and they get exposed. And that's what happened to Magic. He got exposed.
Consistent with what I fell in love with. It's the wrong play here. Sing Jeannie Buss's praises in this.
Yeah, that's the girl you didn't want. Magic said, "Hey, bro, I didn't want to tell her that I quit because she would cry and I would cry and I would have changed my mind." But he's the guy that promotes his brand, right? Listen, there was reports saying that Magic was yelling at guys. I'm pretty sure Magic wouldn't have cared if she would have cried in terms of him quitting. No. I'm pretty sure that you didn't want to go. Pretty sure you was mad, so you went to the camera, right, before a game and said that I quit. You probably would have sent, if you really cared and didn't want to tell Jeannie, you probably would have sent the resignation maybe, and then they would have had to report it based off either someone else or some letter that you wrote or a Facebook post. But the fact that you had a press conference and a news and then was talking and then laughing about it, like, oh man, the pressure's off me. I didn't have to tell Janie to her face. Pretty much should have told you what Magic was, or Magic really is.
Column, and then hey, Magic said some great things about Jeannie, and you know what? He deserves a little credit.
Oh,
too,
so we can get the power once again. We're mad that Magic got the power once again, proving my point. You
What point did you prove?
want to know where the Rob Pelinka compliments are? Go to Bill Pulaski's house or office. They're probably on the cutting room floor. They didn't make this article. I don't know where they are.
That's a possibility.
But here's the thing. I'm tired of people wanting this false humility out of our celebrities, athletes, whoever it is.
It is false humility. It's false humility now. Magic is mad. Magic like that bitter chick that the person that they're dating now, even though they don't look as good as them, they're willing to do the things that they wasn't able to do. They can talk better. They're more fun. and they sacrifice. And so now you're taking shots on Facebook, or rather, you're that warrior who quit and now they're at the after party and you're not invited because you quit. Well, that's it. If you like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. If you are not doing that, if you are supporting this channel, thank you, and that is it.